All right, hello everyone. Thank you for being here today. So my name is Amber Lewis, and I am a Lead for Minnesota Fellow serving Northspan as their Welcoming Community Program Coordinator and working with NORTHFORCE to host this business meet and greet. So today, this is our first business meet and greet for the fall, and we are excited to have our employers here from Family Forum, Little Mariners Child Care Center, and Northspan. We're excited to hear a little bit about who you are and what it is like to work for you. To get started, we have just a brief agenda overview here. We'll have our businesses present first for about 10 to 15 minutes each, and then followed by some Q&A. And we are in Zoom today, so feel free to use the chat if you have any questions, and please be on camera if you can. We understand, of course, if you have other things going on in the background and need to turn it off, but if you are able, we love to see your faces. And of course, you have the ability to manage your mute and video and all that good stuff. So just for everybody here, we'll have a few introductions from our NORTHFORCE team, and then we'll get on to our business presentations. As I said, my name is Amber Lewis. I grew up on the Iron Range near Britt and recently moved to Duluth to begin this two-year fellowship serving Northspan. And I'm really excited to be working in the community and to be part of these business meet and greets this year. Kara, would you introduce yourself, and then we'll have Ash introduce herself.
Absolutely. I am Kara Overland, and I am the Strategy and Development Consultant for NORTHFORCE, and I serve the Twin Ports and Northwest Wisconsin region. And I grew up in Duluth, so I am a born and raised Duluthian. I will pass it on to Desiree.
Hi everyone, Desiree Yorzik. I'm the Greater Northeastern Minnesota Strategy and Development Consultant for NORTHFORCE. So I'm kind of Kara's counterpart for everywhere we cover except for the Twin Ports and Northwest Wisconsin. Yeah, just really excited to be jumping into the business meet and greets again and to hear from you all.
Great, thank you guys for introducing yourself. All right, so we'll head right into our business presentations. Today we have Natasha Schmid, I hope I pronounced that correctly, representing Family Forum, and then we'll have Carissa Graydon representing Little Mariners Child Care Center, and Carl Shuttler representing Northspan. So to get us started, we'll pass it off to Natasha first, and you can feel free, like I said, to share your screen and tell us about yourself and Family Forum.
All right, thank you. My name is Natasha Schmid. I'm the HR Director for Family Forum, and Family Forum is a single purpose agency, but we started in 1967 as the grantee for the Head Start program. And we operated at that time underneath a community action agency. And since then, since 1980, that's when we branched off to the single purpose agency and became our own 501c3 nonprofit organization. We're still the grantee for the Head Start program, but we also now have the Early Head Start program, which we received that grant back in the 90s. So altogether, we serve families and their children who are 0 to 5 years old and prenatal mom in 5 counties of Northwest Wisconsin. So we are in the Douglas County area, Ashland, Bayfield, Iron, and Price. We are a licensed child care provider. So all of our Head Start centers are licensed by the state of Wisconsin. And we're governed by not only licensing, but also the Office of Head Start. Our parents are a huge part of our programming. 39% currently of our staff are or were previous parents, and our parents paved the way for the Head Start program. And also we conduct community assessments so that we are making sure that we are providing the services that our communities need within our the areas that we serve. Our mission is to be dedicated to preparing children and their families for success through high quality programming, family support and wellness education, while fostering meaningful relationships. School readiness is our main initiative, one of our main initiatives to get those kiddos ready for their next school setting when they go from a 4-year-old to 5-year-olds, whether it's in a public school education system or if it's in a different educational system. We want to make sure that our families are self-sufficient and our children are ready for the schools and the schools are ready for our children. So we make sure that we have that smooth transition process and advocate for the families because they may not have had maybe a positive experience in that public school system or school setting. So we want to make sure that we are supporting them. We have one of our biggest priorities is really connection with our staff and our staff wellness, because if our staff aren't well, then we can't provide quality services to those children who are unable to self-regulate. So we really are putting a lot of focus on ensuring that our staff have those supports, getting together, we're all in this together, making sure that we remain connected to our staff. I think a really big highlight of our program is that currently 70% of our administrative team used to be frontline staff. So I started in 2005 as we called them office assistants, and then I grew into my position now, starting in 2007. There hasn't been a year that I've been with Family Forum where there hasn't been an opportunity to dabble into a new position or a new experience, whether it be going either down to a position because you just wanted something different, or moving up into a higher position, moving lateral. We have a ton of positions as we grow. Our Superior sites, we have 2 of our largest centers here, and our largest center, which is located behind the Essentia Health Hospital, we have all of our programming that includes extended day programming 4 days a week, part day programming 4 days a week. We have our Early Head Start center-based program serving babies 6 weeks to 3 years old, and then our Early Head Start home-based programming serving our families at their homes and the development of their children. So with that, we have a lot of positions that are needed. We currently have a lot of positions open to include assistant teachers. We have a 4K teacher position open. We have a cook assistant position open, a family support specialist position. And of course, these are all spread out through our 5 counties. We have a cook position open in our rural Head Start. Every single one of these positions is extremely important because we connect with those families and children all at the same level and at different times. So whether you're a bus driver and you're picking up those kiddos, you have the first contact with that parent, and also you're able to communicate to the teacher who's getting that child into the classroom, whether or not that child, you can anticipate maybe the kind of day that child's going to have based on the experience that the parent or caretaker communicated. Let's see here. I am able to share my screen, but if I don't have time to, I'm just going to direct everybody to our website, which is familyforum.org. It has pictures of our different sites there. Every single one of them is different, from a 5 employee site to a 32 employee site. So every single one has a different culture, which we embrace and respect. We serve children and families at or below the poverty guidelines. And so one thing that we really see as important, and I mentioned before, is just that self-regulation and with each other and embracing the culture of safety within our program, rather than wondering what is wrong with this person I'm working with or what is wrong with this child I'm working with. We want our staff, our team, to kind of switch and shift to what happened to that person and what happened to that staff person to really change our mindset. So we do see some kiddos coming in from crisis situations. However, it is so rewarding to work here because we are able to support that family, see that child grow, and see that family grow and be more self-sufficient. Our teams are passionate, they work together. This pandemic has really thrown us a curveball, and our teams have really come together, and we're able to continue to provide services to our children and families seamlessly, whether we are doing home visits outside or really limiting our class sizes with those children coming in, because we know that our parents, they need to work and they don't have jobs that they can work remotely from. So we're compassionate, we're empathetic, we're family oriented, and we also love to see our staff and our parents grow in education and experiences by helping them achieve their professional development goals. And through that, we have a really strong system that our staff are able to utilize, whether they need paid time or mileage, or even just registration costs. We're able to help them with their professional development plan. So I really like to highlight that professional development system. So we want to support them. I think then that's really all I had to say.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that, Natasha. I really love the kind of holistic perspective that your organization takes. Wonderful. So Carissa, if you are ready, we will go to you.
Cool. Hi, I'm Carissa Gradine. I am the childcare coordinator for Little Mariners Childcare Center in Silver Bay, Minnesota. And in the world of childcare and licensed childcare, that is the role of the director. So that's me. And we are a brand new program. We just opened January 11th of this year. So it's definitely been an interesting start, opening during a pandemic and everything that goes into that. A lot of changes, but it's also been a really fun and exciting ride. So our program is licensed for 52 children, ages 3 weeks up to kindergarten. And right now we are operating as infant room, toddler room, and a combined 3s, 4s, 5s preschool. So that's where we're at right now. And our mission is to provide reliable, high quality care in an environment that supports every child's early development. And that is both academically and social emotionally, which is very much needed, particularly after the couple of years that we've all had. What's really cool about our program is that we are located in the public school. We are a community ed-based program. So that means that we have access to a ton of resources that we wouldn't have been able to provide if we were just starting this on our own from scratch. So we converted 3 classrooms into early childhood classrooms, and we have full access to the gym, playground, library. Our preschoolers do a special library time with the actual school librarian who does little puppet shows and reads the big books. And it's a really great kind of a kindergarten readiness pathway. And then they're already in the building and are comfortable in that space. We are also partnering with the high school to provide like teacher assistants in our classrooms. So high school kids can sign up to earn credit by helping us out and reading books with kids and spending extra quality time. Getting that one-on-one interaction is so nice. And an extra set of hands is always welcome. So that's kind of us in a nutshell. I would say our culture is a culture of caring for our kids, obviously, but also caring for your coworkers and caring for yourself. We all need to be supported, particularly now, and teachers are burnt out all across the board. And this is not an exception here. We have been going all summer with no summer break, no vacation, and everybody feels that, and feeling that we can all work together to make things better for everyone is really the goal. So we are looking to hire a lot of positions. We need infant teachers, toddler teachers, preschool assistants, and or a new childcare director. You can come take my position and I will happily jump into a classroom because that's where I feel like I can be the biggest asset to my team right now. So I would like to share my screen and jump into kind of what that looks like as far as qualifications for what you need for each of those positions, because it does get very confusing with the state licensing. So here we go, sharing. So here is, we are governed by the Department of Human Services, and it is all based in Rule 3, Minnesota state statutes. So for a director, for my position, you do not have to be a qualified teacher to be in this position. It's helpful, it's nice, but it's not a requirement. The requirements for this position are just to be 18 years old, have a high school diploma or an equivalent thereof, have 1,040 hours of paid or unpaid staff supervision experience, and at least 9 quarter credits, not semester credits, quarter credits, or 90 hours earned in any combination of accredited courses. So if you just have a few semesters of college in any of these fields, staff supervision, human relations, or child development, any combination thereof, you can be qualified to be the director of a child care center. Teachers and assistant teachers, there are a million different ways to qualify you. And by a million, I mean 9. So it's all based on your level of education and the level of experience you have. And that experience can be in a licensed child care center or in a school, and a few other options. But that's really the basis. How much experience, how much related education you have. Fortunately, if you have gone to college and taken an intro to psychology or an intro to sociology, those classes count towards teacher qualifications. It's not necessarily a license in child development. You don't need a teaching degree. You can get it just with some really basic classes. Same thing for the assistant teacher, all based on your level of education completed, qualifying credits, and experience. And for those that don't have any of that education or experience background, that's okay. You can get started as an aide. You just have to be 16 years or older, and we work with you to develop those professional development plans. The goal here is to get all of our aides and assistants teacher qualified so that everyone is on equal playing field. Everyone's getting paid the same, has the same responsibilities, and can really support each other to the maximum. So that's kind of that in a nutshell as far as staff qualifications. If anyone is interested in applying, you just go to www.isd381.k12.mn.us and go to the district tab, RFPs and employment opportunities, and scroll on down. We use the same application for everywhere in the district. So you just grab one of these and you can scroll down and check out all of the open positions listed here. So stop sharing. Hello, welcome back. So if there are any questions, shoot me an email, kgraden@isd381.org. And that's all I've got for you.
All right, wonderful, Carissa. Thank you for sharing that. And we're glad to have you in the community.
Thank you.
We will pass it over to Carl from Northspan.
All right, thank you, Amber. Yep. So my name is Carl Schnittler, Research Director and Senior Consultant at Northspan, where I've been for about 5 years now. And I will share my screen here and give you a little bit of an overview of who we are and what we do, and learn who is behind all these sessions, among other things. So Northspan is a really unique organization in that we are a nonprofit, but we're also a fee-based consulting group. We've been around since 1985. We originally spun off of the Regional Development Commission for Northeast Minnesota, and we're based in Duluth, but really operating all over this region and beyond sometimes. We have a board of directors that currently has 13 members, and we are a small number of people who do a lot of things. We have 5 full-time staff members, including our President and CEO, Alyssa Hansen, Bob Palmquist, our Vice President, myself, Amanda Busich, our Operations Manager and Associate Consultant, and Ashley Luna, who is our Operations Specialist. And then in addition to that, we have several contracted staff, and get into that a little bit as we go along here. But as a group that really works in community and economic development, I'll emphasize that we really have a diverse range of backgrounds in our staff, and there's really no single one path that leads people to a career in a place like Northspan. So, Alyssa had a small business background. She described herself as a serial entrepreneur, and had also worked in the economic development field for quite some time as well. Bob Palmquist, her vice president, was a commercial banker before he joined Northspan, so he has that really strong financial background, though he's been with us for 30 years now, so knows a thing or two about Northspan. I have a master's degree in urban and regional planning, and really came into this job right out of that. So I think several of us have been able to come right out of school into positions at Northspan. Amanda was doing operations work with an accounting firm before she joined us, and Ashley was doing direct service. So really people all across the board doing a lot of different things. And it's worth noting that we have 5 staff members now, but we do, at this point, the plan is to add a 6th member in 2022. We're not sure what exactly that position will look like yet, but stay tuned for more details, because that is something that I'm pretty sure is coming down the road for us. And we're an unusual organization that we don't have really one specific niche, and our goal is really to help our clients as a consulting firm and really engage them and elevate almost whatever they're trying to do. And so we're really helping them figure these things out by being that expert navigator who takes the ideas that people have, the vision that they want to make happen, and turn it into accomplishments and move those goals that they have toward reality. So that might seem really vague, so we'll get into a little bit more about what that means. But first, we do have a series of values that we really try to live out every day in our work too. Try to make sure we're inclusive, working often with community and economic development in that area. There's a lot of need to be inclusive, have community conversations, make sure that everyone's at the table that needs to be, and making sure that there's a lot of buy-in to what we do. Need to show ourselves as trustworthy. So when people are entrusting their resources with us, we have to prove that we are worth it in terms of our ethics, our reliability, that we'll be confidential with what they want to do, and act with integrity. Stewards, so again, managing the resources that are entrusted to us, building long-term relationships, and taking good care of other people's resources. Adaptable, so responding quickly to changes in the world, and finding ways to position our clients or the region of Northeast Minnesota more broadly, and making sure that we're adapting to those needs, and also just being diligent, really delivering good customer service, clear results, being on top of things, and just being really organized and on track. And again, as I mentioned, we don't have a specific service area, and historically are rooted in Northeast Minnesota and Northwest Wisconsin. Because of that, we have several programs that are geographically bound. We'll get into those in a little bit, but our work can and has gone anywhere. And so what a couple of things that Northspan really offers is that we're very flexible. We're willing to work with communities. As a nonprofit, we aren't trying to make a ton of money off our clients. We're trying to understand what they want to do, and figuring out their budgets and what we can offer that matches that. We're unique in the area of community and economic development in that there are a lot of other consultants in this area, but often they're 1 or 2 person shops. But with a larger staff, we really have a range of expertise that's available, kind of solid in our backgrounds. You have this variety of stuff that we do: strategic planning, community development, business assistance. We can really cover it all that way. We're really well connected with the regional economic development ecosystem and the other players who are involved in that. So some very deep connections going back to our founding in 1985. And we have a lot of experience accessing funding sources, so the local, state, federal, helping communities tap into those funding streams and making sure that they can make their projects reality by getting access to those resources. So we try to break down our services into three broad areas. So business, organizational, and community development. And that's a series of programs that we power to. So I'll walk through each of those. But starting with the business development. So this is really where that financial piece comes in. So figuring out how to structure the financing for a new project that's coming in. Do things like packaging loan applications, grant applications, getting all that information to one place and making sure that it makes financial sense for our client. We do a lot of work with communities and financial institutions, so banks or credit unions when they have loan programs. Sometimes they will have us staff that, especially if they're smaller ones who are only making a couple loans a year. It doesn't make sense to have a full-time person on that, so they just hire us to run some of those. Do a lot of work with the Small Business Administration and their 7A program, which provides funding to small businesses. And also, really an emerging area for us has been business valuation and succession planning. So helping businesses understand how much they're worth, which they often need to do if they're considering a sale or something like that. And succession planning has become a big issue in this region, especially where you have quite a few business owners who are kind of approaching retirement age and need to figure out, what the next steps are. And it's really important to us to keep a lot of these businesses in the community, make sure that they're continuing to employ people and keeping things moving, because if people don't plan for that, when something unexpected happens, they can really fall apart. So that's become a real priority for us. And a lot of examples of what we've done in that area. So we're seeing things like doing business valuations for these specific businesses, helping an insurance agency get access to that Small Business Administration funding. We've really shifted gears dramatically in 2020 during the pandemic. Had all these new assistance programs coming out. We helped a lot of banks navigate the PPTP or Paycheck Protection Program, and making sure that they got their businesses funding, helped some communities set up their own little funds that they ran. So just making sure that it's really all hands on deck to keep the businesses going during that crisis, and also through that opportunity to access all that funding that had never been available before. On the organizational development side, this is where I spent a good chunk of my time, along with Melissa, our president and CEO, and this is where we're coordinating, facilitating a lot of strategic planning processes for cities or sort of quasi-public entities, a lot of nonprofits, occasionally private business, giving people some technical assistance as they figure out, kind of where they're going as an organization or as a community, facilitate a lot of meetings, organize summits, things like that. We've responded to specific economic crises, and there needs to be planning to figure out, if there's been 100 people laid off at a facility, okay, how do we step in and build a plan for that community, not just to deal with that immediate issue, but build a foundation for longer term growth too. And a very related piece to that is doing feasibility studies, economic impact analysis, understanding what the impact of potential changes would be. And so there's a research component there too. And so this is an area we've done a lot of work, helping some of these things like Wadena Development Authority or the Chisago County HRA EDA with their strategic planning. Had things like this Coffee and Conversation series with the city of Duluth, where we'd bring the city together with people involved in the construction process, whether developers, architects, people in real estate, just to understand how they could work better together to make projects happen in the city. Got the Silver Bay Child Care Action Plan on here, which relates directly to what you just heard from Carissa. We did a bunch of facilitation work there to really lay the groundwork for the creation of that facility. Which was a really great project. The feasibility work for an engineering program that was put in some of the Iron Range schools. So that's the Head Bell program you see there. So really just a range of background research and support and facilitation to drive a lot of these projects forward. And then finally, our community development area, where we are coordinating community conversations, bringing people together. Sometimes they have very difficult discussions about where they want their communities to go. We provide staffing services directly to some communities, especially some of those smaller ones who don't have full-time economic development. Developing strategies for how an economy can diversify, lay a path towards sustainable growth, research some of the opportunities that they have to grow or change their economy or move in new ways, and really try to make sure that when we do that, we're providing clear recommendations and a process for change, not just saying, here's your problem. So finding ways to move things forward there. again, many case studies here about looking at a potential incubator building in the city of Cohasset, did a population study with the Fond du Lac Band. I've actually done a decent amount of work with tribal organizations. We just also finished a large project, the entrepreneurial economy for the Mille Lacs Band. Just this morning, I was working with the East Range Joint Powers Board, which is a joint economic development group for 4 communities in the Iron Range. Work in Silver Bay, Sandstone. So really just a whole range of places where we're driving all over Northeast Minnesota frequently and helping them solve their problems and move things forward as they need to. So as I mentioned, we also have 4 programs. So I'll just walk through each of those. First being Northland Connection. That's where I spend a lot of my time. And it's designed to be a regional economic development portal for Northeast Minnesota. So we've got a database of all the commercial industrial real estate. We've had that in some form since the late 80s. So it's really one of our longest running programs. Obviously, back then it was not on the website. Now it is. That's really the main focal point of Northland Connection. But at the same time, we like to emphasize that it's more than just a website. There are people available to really help people analyze data. We have access to a bunch of resources there. So if businesses are trying to make their case, or communities are trying to figure out what should be going in, we just have a whole wealth of data that can support those processes, and often responding to inquiries related to that. NORTHFORCE, if you're here today, you probably have at least some familiarity with NORTHFORCE, but it's our program that's really focused on talent attraction and retention. Started in 2013. I was actually an intern on this way back when, in the Stone Age, before went to grad school and then came back to work for Northspan. But and really trying to focus individuals with professional advancement opportunities, and also making those connections with employers and helping them meet their workforce needs. And also we have our hashtag North by Choice experience, and that's a broader set of resources for people either moving to the area or just trying to find things in the area and understand what's available to them and the resources that they have. Our third program is one that is relatively new, the Minnesota Opportunity Collaborative, and this was a good example of our adaptability to change at the federal level. This was a program that was created through an act of Congress in 2017, created these specific zones all over Northeast Minnesota where investors could get a tax break if they invested in projects in them. These were mostly low-income areas that had seen some distress, so could benefit from some investments. So we've created a statewide collaboration across the whole state of Minnesota to do awareness and education around this, sort of explain how it can be used well, and help people who have projects connect with potential investors and move them forward. And our newest program is Welcoming Community, which Amber here is mostly really leading. So I don't know half as much as she does, but it's really the point here is just to position Northeast Minnesota for success, and programming and resources related to access, equity, inclusion, especially in the digital area, creating welcoming communities to people from all backgrounds, increasing people's ability to be culturally fluent, and retaining and attracting talent to the region. And Amber is staffing that right now. So that is who we are in a nutshell. Obviously, a lot going on there. As I said, we'll be hiring a position in 2022. Also, NORTHFORCE is staffed by a couple of consultants, so we have an open position for that right now also. That's available on the website, obviously, at northforce.org. So a lot of information there. Potential opportunities for people who are really looking to be involved in advancing our communities across Northeast Minnesota and beyond, seeing those opportunities and making things happen. And that's being part of a dynamic work environment where we're always running different places, always on the move. No day is ever the same. So we do a lot of fun work across the region, and it's kind of who we are.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing all that great information, Carl. Definitely a lot going on here. All right, we are going to move into a little bit of a question and answer session here. And I'm actually going to pass it over to Kara for a couple of questions.
So this is being recorded, and when we record this, we put it on our YouTube channel and we get a lot of views. And so I'm just kind of anticipating some questions that folks might have. And I think this is probably, my first one is directed to Carissa and Natasha, specifically because I know you guys have really urgent hiring needs. And so you both talked about some of the licenses or some of the training and things that people need. And that feels a little overwhelming to navigate, but I know like both of you can help people with that. And I think for me, just to listen to both of you kind of talk about, if somebody was interested in this, they're not just out there on their own trying to navigate this, that you and your team is there to help them. One of the specific things with childcare in general is, everybody, so, if they can get over some of those humps of the licenses or the training, talk a little bit about pay and benefits within your organization. So that is just such a huge thing, for myself, who has a child who's now in kindergarten. So I just got through a lot of years of childcare, but to understand for your staff, what are some of those benefits? Health insurance or 401ks or anything like that. If you could each just take a moment, maybe Natasha, go first.
Sure, that's a good question. So Family Forum offers a full benefit package. The majority of our staff are eligible to participate in that benefit package because they work 30 or more hours, with about 95% of our staff being 40 hours per week. And that includes group health insurance. We have group dental insurance, backing up to the health insurance. Of course, we comply with the Affordable Care Act and contribute at least 80% towards that premium for single coverage only. We have a 403B retirement program, which is just like a 401k. People kind of question that, but is through Principal Financial. And once our staff are eligible, they would receive a 2% match on what they defer from their gross wages. We also contribute or participate in the Flexible Benefit Program. We are a Teach for America sponsor for those assistants or teachers that are obtaining their associate degree or bachelor's degree. We have paid time off, which is vacation time, sick time. We have wellness time, funeral time, jury duty too, if that were needed. And we were able to, as an agency, even though the FCRA law for the pandemic ended, we were able to get our board's approval on moving forward by giving all of our staff a maximum of an additional 80 hours of sick leave if they had any situation regarding COVID that was covered underneath what was previously covered. So anything to do with COVID. Again, we have a really strong professional development system where we do like to pay for our staff coming in if they don't meet those minimum licensing requirements. Like Carissa was explaining, it's basically the same over in Wisconsin, only it's called a different statute. And so we really need those staff to have those credentials, but there's a specific timeline, and so they don't need it right away. So we help pay for that if you're an assistant teacher or an infant toddler teacher coming in. I think I covered it. Did I answer your question, Kara?
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect.
Yeah, for sure. And how long, if somebody gets hired, when do benefits kick in?
So for the health insurances, and to include dental, you need to be here for 30 days to be eligible to participate in that. To utilize paid sick leave besides holiday pay, besides the COVID sick pay, you need to pass your probation period, which is a 90-day probation period. And it depends on what category you land in, whether you're part of, we have a collective bargaining agreement, and then our personnel policies, it's either 90 calendar days or 90 working days. So.
That's great. 30 days is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Natasha. Same question for Carissa.
We are structured very similarly. And that's definitely one of the biggest perks about us being in the school district, is that we can piggyback on their benefits package. Otherwise, a single childcare center, a one location, very rarely can afford to do full benefits. for employees. So that's a huge asset for us. In addition to the full benefits, health, dental, all that jazz, if you have children that you are bringing to Little Mariners Child Care Center, we offer a $200 monthly stipend to help cover the cost of that care. We'd love to give it to you for free. Can't afford it, but we do try to help that a little bit. And also with the additional training, we offer paid training. That's part of the deal. But we also have a grant from the Northland Foundation to sponsor 4 more employees to get their Child Development Associate certificate. So that would be great. We would love to offer that to any newcomers coming in who are not yet assistant or teacher qualified, to get them started on that.
That's amazing. And then just one more question for Natasha and Carissa. I think Carl kind of answered this, and maybe I'm just saying that because I know, so I apologize, I'll give Carl time, but can you talk a little bit about the culture, a little bit about, you know, what you're kind of looking for in an employee, especially in the childcare? It's just so needed right now. So yeah, maybe Natasha first.
Sure, I can go first. So we're really looking for somebody who has that passion in their heart, not just looking for a job, but looking to really help a team and the children and the families to maintain health and safety. And for some children, our child care center, our center, is the safest place for them. And so to come in with that understanding and that empathy and working with children. More and more, we've seen challenging behaviors. Wherever you go, you see challenging behaviors. Teachers are burnt out. Our staff, our cooks are burnt out. You know, this pandemic lowered our threshold, our tolerance threshold even more, whether we have conflict in our personal life or conflict in our work life. And I just am looking for somebody with that understanding, with the empathy, that compassion, and willing to work together as a team, because we're not siloed here, we're all connected. I'm the HR director, and I found myself in the dramatic play area getting my hair done, and I'm walking out with my hair out to here, or in the kitchen counting sandwiches more times than I ever thought I'd count sandwiches, because I wanted to get it right according to compliance. So, you know, getting hands-on. I need somebody who's willing to get hands-on, down and dirty, not afraid to jump in.
Same question for Carissa.
Absolutely. Patience is definitely the biggest thing, which can be the most trying, but being able to still calmly respond when a kid throws a toy at you or somebody pulls your hair, being able to, no, we don't do that, let's do this instead, and redirect some of those more challenging behaviors is really key. And a willingness to jump in wherever needed. People call in sick, people go out for a COVID quarantine. We got to cover our bases and be able to step in wherever we're needed. And I would say, oh gosh, blanked, sorry. Yeah, just really being caring and patient in all your interactions. I'd also like to really stress that we're trying to educate. We're not babysitters. We're not just, you know, sitting on our phones, watching TV, waiting for mom and dad to come pick up. We are trying to teach these kids how to do things, how to regulate those emotions, how to behave when somebody takes a toy away that we really wanted. And all those self-help skills that will really help them as they move on into kindergarten.
Can I add something? I think that Carissa would probably agree with me. Somebody who has strong self-regulation skills, and I'm not saying everybody's well balanced and I have strong self-regulation skills, because we can all lose it, but being mindful and responding rather than reacting to a situation, because those kiddos, they need us to be their safe place. And we need to be mindful of where they're at and where our team is at as well. And being vulnerable to say, hey, I'm not having a very good day today. Just being open to your team so that we can all work together better and keeping these kiddos safe.
And knowing when to ask for help.
Yes, 100%, because you need that when working with preschoolers and infants.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
absolutely.
Yes.
For sure. And then I just want to make one more point. For sure, Natasha and I work together a lot. And, you know, when these jobs are posted, I know that they can go to the website, and Carissa gave that website, Carl gave it as well. But everything's always posted on NORTHFORCE too. So as this goes out to the public, when these jobs are posted, you can always find them on NORTHFORCE. And then in the body of that job posting, we're going to give you directions on how to, you know, go from NORTHFORCE to the appropriate websites and make sure that the applications get put in the right way. But you know, NORTHFORCE, just to reiterate, is always kind of that one-stop shop for everybody. And again, we are happy to work with you to get all your jobs posted. So if you ever have any problems with that as employers, you know, reach out for sure.
Definitely. Thank you, Kara. Those are great questions and such wonderful in-depth answers. Thank you. I have just one more question before we wrap up for the day. I would love to know from each one of you what you really like, what you enjoy most about your job. Maybe we'll start with Carl, and then we'll go to Carissa and Natasha.
Sure. So I think one of the really great things about Northspan is just the variety of work we do. I mean, nothing is ever the same. We're always running somewhere different. Sometimes to the point where you feel like you have ADHD going in 10 different directions, but it's really a great experience where, you know, you're working with communities on some issues that are often, you know, very meaningful to them, and you get to, you know, move from place to place and have that same experience over and over. And so it never really the work doesn't get old, because you're always really having those really interesting engagements, meeting new people, learning about new issues, and it just keeps moving. And so you just have to get on the train, and it's going, and you have to really be ready to ride it and have some fun with it.
That's great. Thank you, Carl. Carissa?
I would say as a director, the best thing is seeing my teachers grow and learn more about how to be better teachers. It's really inspiring. And even just in the last 10 months that we've been open, I've seen so much growth, and that's just really encouraging. As a teacher, hugs and snuggles. You can be having the worst day, and then a toddler waddles up to you and just gives you a big hug, and that is magical.
I love that. Thank you, Carissa. Natasha?
So I would say just like Carl, every single day is different, and the challenge really keeps me on my toes. HR isn't a very easy task. So just having a taste of everything, whether I'm a event planner or just listening to a staff person, is all they really needed. Being a soundboard, it's definitely different. And I'd have to say too, just the team and the support I get from my team really makes a difference for me coming to work, because things do get challenging, but when I do have support behind me, it empowers me to go push myself and go further. And a plus side is I entered this field, this Head Start field, before I even had a family, before I was even married. And so I've experienced so much opportunity in just learning in regards to how I raise these kids, their techniques, and, you know, what does this rash look like? You know, I have that team, and I'm learning through proxy. I don't have an early childhood degree, but man, I think I would have one through proxy if I could test out. So there's just all around opportunities in learning and my team and the challenge. So
Wonderful. Thank you, Natasha. All right, so another huge thank you to our presenters today. Thank you, Carl, Carissa, and Natasha. We really appreciate your time, and it's been exciting to hear about your organizations, and hopefully we'll get some great responses. As I mentioned at the beginning, this is our first business meet and greet for the year, and we have 5 more upcoming business meet and greets this year, with 2 more to take place this fall and then 3 in the spring semester. And the registration is currently open for all those on the NORTHFORCE.org website. So please sign up for those. And that is all we have for today. Thank you again to
Thank
Family
you.
Forum and Little Mariners Child Care Center and Northspan for being our business presenters for the day.
Thank you for having us.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody.